IT really adds value in a number of different ways. IT needs to be effective across all the different departments in the company, and traditionally IT leaders have really focused on keeping technology working, keeping email running, keeping servers running, and that's really not bringing a competitive advantage to the business today. Having working email is a thing of the past. That's a bare bones requirement of doing business today. You have to have working email. It has to be there 100% of the time. So that really doesn't add value of having all of your IT focus on keeping that equipment running. So the IT leaders today can really add value by getting out of managing traditional IT and trying to get involved with each of the different business areas to try to have an impact on what really brings your company a competitive advantage. And a competitive advantage, nowhere inside of that for traditional companies is traditional IT management.
As we all see in the market, the role of the CIO is really shifting from a provisioner to a consumer of IT services, as well as from a tactician to a board visible business partner in most companies. And over time, I believe that is where the CIO will end up, all CIOs. There's still some that are struggling with the managing of infrastructure internally, and what CenterBeam brings to the table, and companies like CenterBeam, is that we focus our energies on taking the commodity off the CIO's plate, allowing them to focus on what differentiates them from their competitors, allowing them to make differences to the business bottom line, figure out how to automate their supply chain, figure out how to build their relationships with their partners so they can get into B2B type technologies and more electronic rather than heavily human processes. And in order to focus on those great projects that are typically more fun for CIOs, we take the IT and the core commodity infrastructure services off their plate to give them free time effectively.
We started trying to find the right partner back then because we had lots of traditional IT problems. We had problems with our servers, we had problems getting email working, and we had 30,000 email messages, spam messages a month that were just out of control. It was a very difficult environment for us to manage internally, so we started with on-premise management, where CenterBeam was remoting onto our servers and providing support, help desk security, a third-party help desk where we can call an 800 number and get support in 24/7. We started with the basic traditional IT support to help us run all of our on-premise technology. Over the years, everything's really started shifting to the cloud environment where there's no need to have all of this on-premise technology anymore. So we started moving all of our infrastructure services, including everything from ERP management to electronic communications, into this cloud environment to really help take our business to the next step and allow us to get back to focusing on what really matters to the company.
The important thing about looking at cloud services is really understanding two things. One of them is your ecosystem for applications that you're running. To the point Scott made, you've got your EDI infrastructure and your ERP platform. It's important to understand how those environments play together before you can make a decision to move pieces and parts to the cloud. The fact is that I believe you can move anything to the cloud. It really is just important that you understand how they interoperate with other services in your infrastructure so that you don't have to deal with latency and bandwidth doesn't become a concern. One of the top concerns for a CIO today is that if I move everything to the cloud, or if I move some things to the cloud, I'm going to have to increase all my bandwidth across all my infrastructure, and I'm offsetting any cost savings I have with the new bandwidth that I've added. The reality is that if you really move the full ecosystem of an application together to the cloud, you don't have to add significant bandwidth. There may be some bandwidth requirement, but all you're doing is sending screenshots back and forth and not significant amounts of data. Additionally, it's important for the CIO to be able to focus their energies on things that differentiate them. So what we do as part of everything we offer to the mid-market is give time back to the CIO so that he can focus on his energies on those applications, technologies that differentiate them, and not have to worry about hardware refreshes and software refreshes and the common commodity IT tasks that have plagued CIOs for years.
I've been with CenterBeam for a very long time now. Obviously, if they weren't a reliable partner that wasn't there trying to look out for my best interest, then I would have moved a long time ago. It's a really neat relationship that I'm able to describe my problems in business terms, and then they can pull together a nice team of resources that are able to really analyze my specific business problem and really be able to come up with a solution that fits my exact needs, that we don't have to compromise on security, I can bring my requirements to the table, and CenterBeam's willing to work with them. And I think that that's another reason why we've been partners for such a long time.
And if I could add to the previous question a little bit, to Scott's point, it's in addition to understanding the ecosystem of applications that you want to bring to the cloud, it's critical to pick the right partner. To the point that Scott just made, if you find somebody who's letting you make all the decisions and not providing any input, advice, or support when you're running into a technology wall, you're really not getting any benefit other than getting infrastructure in the cloud. And I think when you're considering a move to the cloud, it's more than simply just moving your infrastructure someplace other than your data center. You really have to pick the right partner that is flexible, works with you, and helps you with your roadmap to get things done. One of the things that we have that's a unique advantage of ours is that we came up with the very first multi-tenant exchange platform back in 1999. We developed the IP and attracted Microsoft's attention, who joined us as part of the joint development program. We've got several patents in that space that differentiate what we deliver, and the key differentiator for us is that we're delivering enterprise class services versus consumer class services. Many of what you'll see in the marketplace called cloud or collaboration services or hosted exchange or any of those types of capabilities, whether it's infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, or otherwise, are all really consumer class services targeted at small companies that are trying to ramp up quickly. CenterBeam's model is really delivering the same capabilities that a Fortune 100 company would have to the mid-market. And the reason for that is we believe the mid-market doesn't have, they have the same types of issues and concerns that a Fortune 100 company has. They just don't have the time, the wherewithal, and the resources to address those problems. So our mission in life is to take over that core commodity infrastructure capability and collaboration services and cloud services to allow the mid-market companies to focus on what really differentiates them from their competitors. So in contrast to Office 365, coming back to the question, CenterBeam's built our CenterBeam 365 Plus platform on Exchange 2010, SharePoint 2010, and Link 2010. So we took the Microsoft set of feature set, matched them, and then laid our IP on top of it. What that allowed us to do was to have, in contrast to the Office 365 solution that has about 20 gaps against a on-premise solution, CenterBeam's able to close 16 of those gaps and can deliver more feature sets that are similar to an on-premise solution versus Microsoft, who can't. Their solution is restricted, and again, because of that consumer class mantra, it can't act and feel like an on-premise. So if you're willing to give up some functionality and capability, Microsoft is a good answer for the hosted collaboration space. But if you want a solution that looks, feels, and acts like an on-premise solution, a dedicated solution, then CenterBeam can give you that with all the benefits and advantages of a multi-tenant fractional ownership pricing model.